The new Qwen model just dropped, and it's open source, and it's awesome, so let's check it out. So the flagship model achieves competitive results. That's kind of putting it lightly. Performance-wise, it's kind of positioned between O1 and the Gemini 2.5 Pro. I bet they are using the old scoring system on Live Bench and Live Code Bench, so the score is a little bit misleading. But we can see them on Live Code Bench that it's actually 7th place with 65.9 and largely competing with Grok 3 Mini. And outside of O4 Mini and Gemini 2.5 Pro, there are no strict challengers. In fact, Gemini 2.5 Pro mostly would be standing out with its context window and O4 Mini with its score. But of course, the best part is that Qwen 235B, A22B, so active perm. I kind of like how descriptive the name is, but it's also not that catchy. Regardless, this is an open source model. And if we try to look for the second open source model, on this list it would be DeepSeek V3. So that's not that great. Even if we had, I'm not sure which version this is, but I guess DeepSeek R1 would be one as well. And on LiveBench, it would rank between Grok 3 Mini Beta or Gemini 2.5 Pro. But realistically, it's probably going to be more in this category. Definitely below Gemini 2.5 Pro. And the next open source model would be just DeepSeek R1. So this is a huge win for open source. And even before, QVQ32B was an amazing model that they now actually managed to beat with a 3 billion active pair model Qwen 30B A3B, I suppose. Which is just crazy. Look at the score. So this tiny model is beating everything, including a DeepSeek V3 and GPT-4o, and even their previous over 10 times bigger model. And all their models are under Apache 2.2, essentially open source license, and the two most noteworthy ones have a 128K context window, which is what most models out there have, but lately more 1 million context window models are coming to the scene. But it doesn't matter unless you need it. And also, as far as I know, these are the first hybrid thinking models, meaning that the very same model has a thinking and non-thinking feature, although there are definitely options such as Gemini 2.5 flash thinking and non-thinking, but here the very same model is capable of thinking and not. And of course, the main point of it would be that you get a much higher score. So not thinking at all, obviously you want the fast answer, but if thinking with 32K tokens, then you get over 80, which is quite significant. And of course, for testing purposes, we always see AI is challenged with hard problems. So thinking actually matters, but for most common, let's just say, use cases, it might not. So if you ask AI what is the capital of France, then you would not need the thinking feature. AI can just answer. And actually supports 119 languages. Now that's good to see. And we have first-class support for MCP as well. Although, I was not playing around with MCP that much, but yeah. Computer use? Maybe I should. It does look useful. And we can see that on Hugging Face, it is trending, along with its smaller model. And currently, price-wise, keep in mind, this is an open source model. So you can just host it yourself. Or if you have the hardware, you can just use it. But suppose you want a third party, then it currently costs about the same as a Gemini 2.5 Flash. So about the same pricing tier, while being smarter. So I guess you would use Gemini 2.5 Flash if you need the context window. And of course, you can just go to their site, select it as default, which is what I recommend. So it's going to be used all the time. And what GPU would I need to run Qwen 3 235B A22B locally? Let's go. So let's think about this while we are searching. We see the thinking budget, and actually we can change the thinking budget. So essentially you can affect how quick of an answer you want, I guess. That's interesting. This is definitely a first. Okay. So the takeaway would be that running the big model is probably a no. But if you're so inclined, you can run the smaller model, which is actually better than their previous Qwen 332B model, on a high-end consumer-grade GPU, like the RTX 4090. And price-wise, it's pretty damn competitive, because Gemini 2.5 Flash would be 0.15 in and 0.6 out, while Grok 3 Mini would be 0.3 in and 0.5 out. At this point, DeepSeek R1 is not super competitive. I guess we have to just wait for DeepSeek R2. But now the new Qwen 235B coming in, which is like beating 0.1 for 0.2 in and 0.6 out. And even their smaller model is gonna put a lot of heat on the competitors, I suppose. A Gemini 2.5 Flash for 0.1 in and 0.4 out could be still relevant. But perhaps simply put that unless you need the context window, then these new Qwen models are gonna be best in their tier. And while their small model is impressive, there are many other affordable options in that tier, although they are not usually open source, which is definitely a major plus. But the most interesting part is that it's ranking near the top. So if we just looked at the top ones, and I'm not even going to mention something like 0.1 high, which is just stupid. And perhaps using Aether is going to be more relevant here because we see the prices. So they're claiming that they scored 61.8 on Aether. That means that they are sliding slightly above 0.1, which costs quite a bit, while the pricing is cheaper than DeepSeek V3. It's probably going to be similar to Grok Mini Beta High. So unless you can really justify these price tags, out of which only Gemini 2.5 Pro would be somewhat reasonable, but regardless, it would be hard to pass up the new Qwen model, the 235B, having the performance of 0.1 for the price of like a Gemini Flash. And apparently, the new R2 will be priced half as much as the new Gemini Flash is being priced. So that's going to be interesting. And while Google is so-so with their Gemini models, especially the Flash model, especially OpenAI and somewhat Anthropic are not vibing with these new open source and fairly affordable models. So that's it. I'll be testing it eagerly in the coming days. It's also available for free on OpenRouter, but you may need to buy $10 worth of credits one time, and even then you might face some limits. So that's it.